Hey guys, in this video we'll be talking about how you plan for 6 figures in income through rental property investing. And by having the right plan, it's much like an algebraic equation where you answer a few questions to get to your financial freedom number. How much money do I need to set aside? How much time? What types of houses and how many houses do I need to buy to ultimately reach that financial freedom number? It's very simple to get there if you have it written down and you have a few basics down on what to look for in that plan. My name is Aaron White. I'm a realtor and an investor. Much like many of you out there, I was a W-2 employee, and that's where we adopted this plan. So I'm going to share my story, how it led to that, and how we ultimately came to building out a plan much like this. Today, I work with many W-2 employees and 1099 business owners to help them make a plan just like this. It takes us approximately an hour to complete the work. It's not overbearing, and they have a concrete plan that they can follow that tells them step by step each year what to do. As I mentioned before, most of the people who are going to be interested in this video are W-2 employees or 1099 business owners. They're looking for a way to plan for financial freedom number, and this is a simple path to get to that plan. So that's where we're going to talk briefly about rental property strategy and the 4 things that you need to have in your plan to make sure that you're on the right path. I started back in 2018 as, like you, a W-2 employee, working the W-2 and grinding on the side in real estate investing. I'd actually been investing now for 4 years. I started back in 2014. We had tried a number of different types of strategies, flipping and fancy creative financing and BRRRRs, and you can go look those up at a later time. Either way, we were finding that the balance between time at home, time with the family, time with work, time with the side hustle, it was being stretched too thin. And so we needed something a little bit different to help bring that balance. The other factor was the fact that we just didn't have good financial goals or expectations out of real estate. And because I didn't have expectations out of real estate, it became very difficult to define what a good deal is. And if I couldn't define what a good deal is, I faced analysis paralysis. There's a lot of deals today that I look back on and think, man, I really wish I would have bought that house. But because I didn't have a strategy or a way to get to a number, it became something that I skipped over and just didn't pull the trigger on. Wish I would have. In 2018, I read this book, the book on rental property investing. I highly recommend you also pick up a copy and read it yourself. But I got 2 things out of this book besides a whole bunch of other golden nuggets that are in there. One is that I needed to have a plan to get to my goal. And second of all, I needed to have crystal clear criteria, because if I had crystal clear criteria, I could leverage other people to go bring me these deals and spend a whole lot less time working on finding deals and moving towards my financial goal. So in 2018, my wife and I made a plan to reach 20 doors and $200K in passive rental property income. To reach that $200K number, I need a gross income of roughly $300K to ultimately cover taxes, insurance, etc. The first of 4 steps in building a rental property strategy is defining your number. Don't overthink this. Don't think, I don't know what I can expect out of real estate. Just define, what does life for me look like as financially free? Maybe it's 80K, maybe it's 500K, I don't know. Make it your number, make it realistic to your income, where you are today, and what does life look like when you're achieved that number. Then second of all, define how much money can you set aside each and every month in order to invest into rental property investing. It's really that simple. Write those 2 numbers down and move on to the next step. The next step is defining the criteria of the home that you want to purchase. So for example, I live here in Houston. Here in Houston, I typically find the properties that cash flow the most, in other words, least dollars spent and the most dollars in rent return, are between 150K and 270K. They are single-story homes because they have less foundation problems and less expenses with ACs. And they have less than 2,000 square feet because you just have less problems with tenant turnover, multiple families, and so on and so forth. There's a number of reasons why you might want specific things or types of criteria, but the important thing is to go through the process of defining what types of houses would you buy today in terms of physical characteristics, age of the home, so on and so forth. Now that we've defined the income and the criteria for the home, we get to do the fun part, which is planning the acquisition piece. Now, to a lot of people, this might be a headache, but with a few calculations of median taxes, median insurance in your city, and the purchase price, etc., that you are going to purchase for, you can plug it into an Excel model much like this. We use this with our clients. We'll update it with their numbers and their goals, etc. But the point of having a plan here is to tell you how many houses to buy each year and to know how much money that you could put in it, right? So you're going to put in your numbers that you have. For example, here, this person is putting in $1,200 of their money each month. Their target net goal of cash flow after their reach their goal is to reach $130,000, and the max purchase price per door is $250. The average rent they're going to target for is around $1,800 to $2,000, and then they're looking for about an average of $200 in cash flow per door. The first year, they're going to have 2 doors. And so an Excel model like this simplifies it very easy. It shows them the first year they buy 2 doors. And then for the next 2 years, they actually buy 0 doors. They just save up cash flow and they save up that personal savings. Then they buy, on the 4th year, 1 more door. And then again, that 5th year, they buy 0, right? So it's not buying all the time and really straining yourself too much. It's setting aside cash flow. It's setting aside cash from personal income to buy houses slowly. Now, as we scroll down here, we can see that they're going to reach their door count in less than 12 years, and they'll have enough doors to basically reach their goal. Now, of course, you have debt at that time, and therefore you need to work on a plan to liquidate that debt and pay that off, which of course will bring us to that next step. But before we move on, it's important to note a model like this is always wrong. George Box is a famous statistician, and he has a saying, all models are wrong, but some models are useful. The usefulness of this model is simply to define the actions you need to take and know what you need to focus on each year. As problems arise in real estate investing, which I'm sure they will, there's a lot of ways to solve those problems, whether it be tenants, physical conditions, market rent, or vacancy, whatever it be. It's really about working with people who can help you answer those problems. And so the goal here is to take the model, take the assumptions, and make a plan, knowing it's not a guarantee of financial income, simply a plan towards the right direction and setting on the right path. The last step, step number 4, is simply having a payoff plan. And in a payoff plan, you need to figure out one of 2 ways in which you're going to liquidate your debt. Either A, we could take that cash flow and start aggressively paying off maybe the house with the most interest or the house with the least remaining balance, you define it. Or B, you could potentially over-acquire houses. So for example, if you only need 9 doors to reach your goal, as this investor that we just looked at needed, then we could look at buying potentially another 9 doors, which only takes about 5 years because the cash flow compounds so quickly. It ends up really accelerating the time in which it takes to purchase those new doors. So we could accelerate the time to buy those doors, use that appreciation in those properties then to pay off the debt of 9 of your doors, ultimately keeping a handful and then walking away financially free. Understand there are a lot of risks in rental property investing. There's a lot of ways you can mitigate those risks through good financial practices, good inspections, good analysis on the rental properties and the markets that you're investing into. It's important you work with a team of professionals that can help guide you along the way and get you on that right path. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, my name is Aaron. I'm with the A-List team. My wife and I run a real estate team right here in Houston. And we'll make it really simple. 3 things to kind of take away from this video. A, we'll help you build out a plan much like this. We have an Excel model. It only works here in Houston. We have Houston taxes, Houston insurance, etc. And then second of all, we'll help handpick properties for you. We have software that helps us number crunch all sorts of data here in Houston. And we send out deals to our clients on a regular basis to help them find the best cash flowing properties for them. And then last of all, we're gonna help you find the right team. We have a number of contractors, we have a number of lenders, we have a number of different ways to help people solve different problems that you may face along your journey. If we can help you find your next rental property and get you on a plan just like this, reach out to us on our website or give us a call. We'd love to have a conversation with you and get you on the right path.